So here we are on the Big Island, and this is about 4 or 5 miles from our hotel, and Susan and I just decided we're just going to go take a drive and see what everything's about. Everyone told me that I really needed to get a four-wheel drive if I was going to take any of these side roads down to the state parks and what have you, and I figured, no, that's not a big deal. But this is what we're driving. It's a little tiny Nissan Versa with no freaking clearance at all, and this is what most everybody else is driving. Yeah, big old Jeep, four-wheel drive, nice clearance, what have you. So I think Susan and I are headed back to the airport, and we're going to turn this car in and we're going to get a different car, because this is clearly not what I need if I'm going to do some of this driving. Everybody coming down this road is driving a big, gigantic vehicle. So we're going to go down there right now, but we're headed to the airport to get a different car. So we turned in our little itty-bitty Nissan Versa and upgraded it to a 1500 Dodge Ram with a 5.7 liter Hemi. So this ought to get the job done on any of the lava rocks and gravel roads and chunky stuff that we find. So here Susie and I are at Kealiakekua Bay, and this is protected water for the Hawaiian spinner dolphin, and there's no boats that are allowed to come in here, and there's no launches on this area. If you can see, there's kayaks out here. That's the only way to get to this area is by kayak, but this is one of the nicer areas to do snorkeling. So on the far shore, there's a monument to Captain Cook. This is supposedly where he was killed by the natives. Way back when. That white monument over there is to him. It's not sandy beaches. This is all lava and coral and yucky stuff. I'd hate to be down there with my bare feet. I imagine it would just rip you to shreds. So Susan and I are debating what this pit is for. She says it's for luau's. I personally say it's for human sacrifice, but she thinks I'm wrong. Of course, this nice flat rock right there in the middle of it kind of scares me. I say human sacrifice. So Susan and I have been coming down pretty north on the island, and we keep coming across these unknown but very man-made looking break walls, and I don't know what this is, but it is kind of interesting. I may have to do some research and try to get an answer. It's kind of cool. This is one of the black sand beaches off the beaten path. It's kind of cool.
And now we are going down a very steep grade down to that black sand beach off in the distance. You're not allowed on this road without a four-wheel drive. This is George's idea of fun! Wow! That would be the ocean down there on the bottom. This would be a cliff. There's a reason why they don't allow anything but four-wheel drive on this road. Put your seatbelt on. And George is driving it without his seatbelt on. Now, isn't that smart? Falling rock.
So here Susie and I are. This is one of the famous black sand beaches, and Susan and I drove down here. It is just freaking amazing beach for as far as you can see, all black sand. And we had to use the four-wheel drive, and as you can see, this right here, literally, this is what we came down to get down here. This little mountainside here No cars are allowed down here unless they're four-wheel drive, and you have to have four-wheel low. So we used the Dodge Ram and engaged four-wheel and came down this trail, and I think the reward was pretty spectacular. We're down here on this black sand, and it's amazing. It's black as black can be. So we're down at the bottom, and it took us about 30 or 40 minutes to come down this rock cliff. Susan, what do you think?
I think we're not doing that anymore.
It was interesting getting down here, a little bumpy.
Yeah, quite scary.
Little scary. I don't think I've ever came down something that steep in four-wheel drive. But hey, that's why we rented the truck.
Somewhat.
Was it worth the trip down?
Yeah, it's quite a reward once you're down here.
Pretty neat, isn't it?
Yeah.
So down on this black sand beach that Susie and I are at, these are some of the neatest waves we've seen. We didn't get to see the really nice breakers at Waikiki because the weather just wasn't right. But these waves are pretty big. They break out there probably 6 feet maybe, and it just is really neat. This is the first time we've really spent much time down on a beach, and I would say this is one of the neatest beaches I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen a solid black sand beach, and that's what this is. This is all black sand. One of the reasons Susan and I came down here was to see this waterfall down at the end, and we can't walk to it. It's a little too far. And I talked to one of the locals down here, and he said it was dangerous to go to there. So we're not going to try it. There's plenty of other waterfalls to see, but this is a waterfall down at the Black Sand Beach that we discovered in our four-wheel drive. The tide's coming in, so we're seeing a lot bigger waves coming in. And I at least think the tide's coming in. Susan and I are trying not to get wet. We don't have our shoes on, so... But these are some big waves coming in here. It's really neat. So we see these all the time in Canada, and I can't remember what they're called, but these rock monuments generally are put here to honor someone who's died or to honor the gods or what have you. So they're pretty neat. Also made out of lava rock. I think they're interesting. Susan and I are at the top of Akaka Falls. We were planning on hitting Rainbow Falls and then a couple of the other falls, but you have to be there before 11 o'clock to really see the rainbow. So we stopped up here at the top of this fall to have our lunch. And as you can see, it's a spectacular waterfall. We're getting ready to walk down to it. We're not quite done with lunch yet. As soon as Susan finishes up, we're gonna walk down the path down to this fall and see if we can get a little closer and get to the pool and some of the other cool and neat stuff at this fall. Looking forward to it. It should be very, very, very neat. So here we are on our way up Akaka Falls, and it literally is a rainforest up here. It's amazing, the density and the various types of trees and forage and what have you. I've seen nothing like it. Here we are at a steam vent at Volcano National Park. I think this is a sulfur vent, but I'm not sure. Susan seems to think it's just a water vent, so we'll have to check that and see if it is or not. They said the steam coming out of this is between 140 and 180 degrees, and they said that they're quite safe to come up to, so I thought it was kind of neat, and we pulled off on this one to take a look. So Susan was correct. The vent that we were looking at was the steam vent, and the sulfur vent you actually have to walk quite a ways to, and they don't have it blocked off the way that they did the steam vent, just because it's dangerous. So they really don't want you going to it. So I'm taking it from a good distance away. This is really cool. This area here just looks like a savanna, but it's an active volcanic area. So here we got steam vents coming up out of the ground. It's a volcano, but you would never know it without seeing the steam, and the smell is clear. It's kind of sulfury and noxious in some places. It's kind of cool. And here we are at the active crater site. And you can see steam rising from the crater over there. And they said that you can come back at night and see the lava glow. So Susie and I are going to come back later tonight to check out the glow, hopefully. The park ranger said that this volcano site erupted in 1959, and in that time there's a mountain ridge. I don't know which one she was talking about, but there's a mountain ridge that has grown pretty high in the 35 years since it erupted last. Here we are at the 1974 lava flow, and it looks more like the moon than anything I've seen ever. Susan, what do you think?
Cool. I feel like you're on the moon.
Yeah, so you just picked up a piece of lava, and it's not very heavy at all, not dense.
There's a lot of air pockets in it, a lot of holes.
So more lava flow at Volcano National Park. This one is 1979, Susan?
Yeah, maybe.
We think this is 1979 lava flow, and this is different than other flows that we've seen. This kind of points up in the air and seems like it was just pushed up a little more, and I don't know, it didn't seem to flow across the ground. This is the real jagged stuff. It is neat. This is a cool place. And when Susie and I drove up here, it was 85 degrees down below, and this is about 4,500 feet above sea level, and the temperature dropped about 10 or 12 degrees as we came up. It's a quite cool 74, 75 degrees up here on top of this lava. It is cool. Never seen anything like this. You know, this is what I expected to see in Volcano National Park. You know, you read about it all the time, where you see lava flows and an eruption that just totally obliterates everything, turns the landscape to barren wasteland. This looks more like the moon or something versus you know, Hawaii. But this is the Manamao eruption, and this is the sheer devastation of the lava flow in this area. It's just crazy. For miles, it's just dead. So these are some Hawaiian petroglyphs that are carved into the volcanic rock, and the park ranger said some of these are still used today. You'll see little holes in the rock. In the rock, they put the umbilical cord in from newborn children, and it's supposed to bring good luck. Here we are. This is a lava sea arch right here at the base of the mountain, basically, where the lava flows into the sea. This is just unreal. Cool stuff. The waves crashing into this coastline where the lava meets the ocean is just unbelievable. There's quite a bit of rock outcroppings here, but they basically say don't walk on them because they're unsafe. So it's just lava rock stacked up in basically like cordwood. I imagine it could collapse at any minute.
Hello.
It's very cool.
It's also very wet.
This is inside of a lava tube here at Volcano National Park. I guess lava flowed through it and created it. It's kind of neat. Very nice. It's kind of hard to see it, but this is the glow from the lava from this volcano that we've been watching all day today. Susan and I have spent all day in Volcano National Park, and this is the apex of our trip today. We wanted to wait for the glow, and it was definitely worth it. This is an active lava flow. They say that it's about 200 feet below the top there. Very nice. So Susan and I are back out on the road today, And we went to Volcano National Park yesterday, and we drove Saddle Road in the dark, and we decided we were going to come back up Saddle Road and go to the observation deck of the observatory up there on the big mountain on Hawaii. So we're headed up there. Susan's really not too interested in going to the top. But I kind of want to go all the way to the top. There's a visitor center at 9,000, and then there's a gravel, non-maintained road all the way up to 14,000 feet, and that's kind of where I want to go. So we'll see. So far she's winning, but I might be able to negotiate a little bit and get the opportunity to go up there. So this is the top of the mountain up here, and Susan and I were thinking about driving all the way up to the observation deck, but I'm already feeling the effects of altitude up here, and we're at about 10,000 feet, and it's probably not a good idea to go the rest of the way. A little dizzy, a little lightheaded, so I believe this is our stopping point. It is pretty cool. Temperature's about 60 degrees up here. The road is awesome going up there. I've seen a few cars go up it. There's a couple young ladies down the path who are trying to bribe Susan to allow me to drive up it because they needed four-wheel drive and don't have it. And I have it and probably won't use it. Oh well.